everybody, I'm Elise Wong, and today I'm going to share with you a time-lapse video along with commentary on how I did this diorama. For this dolphin figurine, it's made out of wood and I bought it from a souvenir shop in Cameron Highlands on Tanah Rata. The name of the store is Seng. I will link their Facebook page down below in the video description if you're interested. I also bought other supplies from Craftiviti. It's one of my go-to places. If you want to know where I get most of my art supplies, I'll link it up in the right hand corner. I bought the base, corals, and I also applied plaster of Paris, which I got from Craftiviti. For the vegetation, I bought from a local pet store. And the paint, I used Vallejo. Looking at the features of this dolphin, it kind of looked like the Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphin, and because of that, I thought to incorporate their characteristics into this piece. So for the back, for the bottlenose dolphin, their back is dark, whilst their underbelly is lighter in color. And I thought to add this into the Malaysian Beauties collection as well, so I'll put a pop-up link when it's ready. I hope you guys will click on it and learn more about these amazing beasts. I hope you guys enjoy. I start by applying the primer first. At first I started with a paintbrush, but then I decided to go for the airbrush. Airbrush, I would definitely say, is the most ideal, especially for sculpture painting. It is because airbrush is very flawless in its application, whereas using the paintbrush, it can leave behind brush marks or even leave air bubbles, and that can really totally mess up your sculpture, especially when it's all nicely sculpted already in its shape and design. You don't want any of that to just be disrupted, so I would definitely recommend airbrush from the beginning until the end. And then I block in the basic colors. So I started by blocking in basic gray, which I mixed black and white. I don't have a gray paint bottle. I usually buy basic colors and then I mix the colors up, to save money. Mix the black and white in its proper ratio because there will be midtones, highlights, and shadows, so it would have to vary in its formula. I'm just trying to get everything, like the underbelly, the fins on the other side. The underbelly is lighter in color, so what I'm trying to do is I was trying to paint the underbelly a lighter color. Now I'm doing all the shading. I'm doing the highlights now. So for Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphin, they have this pattern where the top of their head is dark color and you can see a very prominent muscular structure around the tail area. So try to incorporate the muscle tones on that. Now I'm adding in the shadows. Yes, I'm giving it eyeshadow, giving it a little makeup, make its eye pop a little, and put some shadow under the fins as well. So as I said before, following the pattern of a bottlenose dolphin, I am making the top of its head darker. And I'm also making it a lot more refined in terms of the muscular structure, putting in the shadows as well. I gave it a hint of blue to represent its gender, so the top one will be male and the bottom one will be female. Same thing I did for the top dolphin, I'm doing for the bottom dolphin. I'm adding in the highlights, the shadows, and I'm going to give it a red hue to it. Probably pinkish.
I am painting the eyes. I use white first because it's a lot easier to put the flat colors on top of it. If you start it with black, it's very difficult to get your colors to see through as compared to putting the foundation white paint. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you the shading because it just was in camera view. I got a plastic cup, you know, the ones you use to buy Slurpee, and then I mixed in plaster of Paris and water. I put in water first and then I add in the plaster powder and then I mix them together. So then I hot glue the sculpture onto the base. Why I'm using plaster of Paris is because the base is just a flat piece of wood and it won't look very appealing to the eye because, you know, in nature, who knows a flat plane besides, well, planes. So, but this will be underwater and it's gonna have sand all over, so I wanted the ground to be uneven. So I put the plaster on top and I used the spoon to just make it look very uneven, and then I put on some primer. Then I did a little testing, put some PVA glue, and then I got some sand that I collected from the ground outside my house. And I'm putting more sand. And I will try to remove the excess by tapping onto the base and fall onto the container so I won't waste as much sand. For the plants, I got this from a pet store because, you know, some owners, they would like to decorate their aquarium with life realistic plants. So I used that and I hot glue it everywhere on the base. I wanted to make a bit of coral around the female, so I tried to use this moss, but the PVA glue wasn't good enough, so it kept falling off, so eventually I had to use hot glue to make sure it stuck to the dolphin. Then I thought to add a little splash of color, you know, a little bit of variant by adding red corals to it. Red moss, sorry. But it does look a lot like coral, so I used that as an alternative. Then I add more sand.
Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you did, I would really appreciate if you show some love by liking and subscribing, and I would really like to hear your thoughts, so please feel free by leaving it in the comments below. And that's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next video.